Do, 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 do. Okay, let's see. Go live. Hopefully I got the right live stream. Okay, there we go. Closed captions on. What's up, everybody? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thanks for stopping by. And wanted to do a little bit of an update with regards to Noel. I am going to go over the timeline a bit because, let me fix my volume. I'm going to go over the timeline a bit. There's a nice article, and Flossie helped me out with these links and stuff. Feeling a little nauseous because I haven't eaten today and I was working out and all this stuff. I slept in, I got good sleep. I got an email today and somebody was like, they missed me going live. And I was like, damn. But this one, I think we're going to do just about an hour's worth of live or something like that to go over some of these updates, man, with Noel, because it's gotten kind of crazy. This is the kid from Texas where he was living with his mother, stepfather, and I think 6 other siblings. This family takes off. And so the updates just keep on coming. Let me zoom in here so we can see clearly the timeline, because they did a press conference yesterday too. I figure we can go over the press conference. Let's see. What's up, everybody? Welcome. This is an odd story for sure. I mean, they believe this kid, there's his picture. They believe he's dead, deceased, police. There's been some like revelations that's come out. So this is a gangster ass timeline they did. So October 2022, Noel Rodriguez-Alverez is at the birth of his twin siblings. About a week later, witnesses say they see Noel. He is described as unhealthy and malnourished. This is the last time police can confirm Noel is alive. And those two twins, I think at the time they were 5 months. Well, not at the time, but when the whole thing hit the news, those twins were 5 months. Those twins are the biological kids, I believe, of the stepfather, and stepdad. Okay, of Noel's stepdad. So October 22nd or October 2022, Cindy Rodriguez-Singh, which is the biological mother, does not bring Noel, who was diagnosed with a speech delay, estropia in both eyes, which I actually want to look that up. What is estropia? Estropia describes an inward turning of the eye and is the most common type of strabismus in infants. Young children with estropia do not use their eyes together. Oh, let me show you an image of this. Okay. So he had this going on as well. Okay, so he had a lot of health problems. Okay. Chronic lung disease and several other diagnoses, illnesses to his Department of Health scheduled medical appointments. Police later learned he was last seen by a professional for an appointment in July. And then November 1st, 2022, Rodriguez-Singh takes passport photos for 6 of her children, not including Noel. So this has obviously been planning and plotting. November 2nd, 2022, Rodriguez-Singh applies for passports for her family, not including Noel. November 6th, 2022, Rodriguez-Singh researches costs of trip to India. And so the stepdad is Indian. Stepfather is Indian or something like that. I guess he has family out there. March 20th, 2023, officers are dispatched to do a welfare check on Noel at the request of CPS. An anonymous family member gave a tip that Noel hasn't been seen in a long time. Cindy Rodriguez tells police that the boy is living in Mexico with his father. So those that have been following the story, we kind of know a lot of these details, but it's good to kind of go through it to refresh ourselves and for the new, if there's any new people to it. March 21st, 2023, Cindy Rodriguez-Singh's husband, Arshdeep Singh, which for a long time his name wasn't out. Now his name is out. Arshdeep Singh throws away carpet later believed to have human remains on it at one time. Okay, it's more recent, March 21st. March 22nd, and this is going to be all in the press conference. March 22nd, 2023, Rodriguez-Singh steals $10,000 from his job. This is like new revelations. Cindy Rodriguez-Singh and Singh take 6 children, not including Noel, fly from DFW airport to Istanbul, Turkey. They continue to India, Singh's home country, to the stepfather's home country. Damn, 10 racks. March 23rd, 2023, CPS contacts Noel's father, Mariano Alvarez Contreras. He tells them he was deported before Noel was born and has never seen the boy. We talked about that as well. So the mother's pointing the finger to the biological father. The biological father's never even seen Noel. March 2023, Cantario Rodriguez, Cindy's brother, tells investigators Cindy told her mother that she sold Noel to a woman at a Fiesta market. Police later confirmed the purchase didn't happen. He also tells them that Cindy withheld water from the boy and saw him beaten with keys. March 2023, police talked to Charles Parson, who owns the property, which we're going to rewatch that video, who owns the property where Noel, Cindy, and Archdeep live in a shed. He says he hasn't seen Noel since Thanksgiving 2022. He claims Cindy told him Noel was living with his biological father in Mexico. So we are going to get to that. That's this guy here. We're going to get to that after the press conference. And let's see. Okay. Police talked to Charles Parson, who owns the property. Last saw him at Thanksgiving. He claims Cindy told him Noel was living with his biological father in Mexico. March 25th, 2023, an Amber Alert is issued for Noel Rodriguez-Alverez. The alert tells the public to look for a Chevy Silverado with a mural of the Santa Muerte across the back windshield. I've showed that picture. I've shown it before. I'm sure it's somewhere in my computer. I don't want to spend time looking for it now, but March 26, 2023, an Amber Alert for Noel is canceled. An endangered missing persons report is issued. Everman police find the family's truck in a garage at the DFW airport. March 27, 2023, a cadaver dog searched the property where Noel's family lived. March 28, 2023, Fox 4 is allowed inside the shed where Noel lived with his mother, stepfather, and siblings. Charles Parson tells Fox 4 CPS had previously taken Rodriguez-Singh's children away from her and that she feared it would happen again. Homeland Security, FBI now joined the investigation. March 30th, 2023, a felony warrant issued for Cindy Rodriguez-Alvarez and Rodriguez-Singh for abandoning and endangering a child. March 30th, 2023, investigators drill underneath concrete slab recently poured at the property where Noel lived. Nothing is found. I thought that whole thing was weird too. Where they got this whole new I forgot exactly what it was. It was supposed to be, I can't remember the name. They built some brand new thing there. And if you see the living conditions of that shed, which I think police tore up, I don't know how much of it was police or how much of it was these other people. For them to put this slab there, brand new, and the place is in shambles, that was suspicious. But apparently police found nothing there. So April 5th, 2023, search warrant acquired by Fox 4. Everman Police Chief Craig Spencer says investigators can specifically rule out Rodriguez-Singh's claims that she sold Noel at a Fiesta market. Almost on some Letitia shit. Almost on some pointing the finger at everybody else, lying, biological father, sold the kid at a market. I don't know. April 6, 2023, Everman Police announced the search for the Noel has transitioned to a death investigation. The endangered missing persons report for Noel is ended. April 10th, 2023, Texas search and rescue team search wooded areas near Noel's home. Crews dig up entire dig up entire concrete patio at the home. Concrete patio. April 10th, 2023, Everman community holds a vigil for Noel. April 11th, 2023, Everman police announced that Rodriguez-Singh disposed of large carpet prior to fleeing the country. Police believe human remains were on the carpet at one time. Everman police on April 14th, Everman police call off weekend searches due to new data analysis. April 18th, Everman police talked to Fox 4 about Cindy Rodriguez's worship of Santa Muerte. Allegedly told others Noel was possessed and evil and a demon that she feared would hurt the twins. April 22nd, 2023, all-day search in area around Noel's home comes up empty. Data led teams to search areas within a few square miles of home. And then April 25th, 2023, Everman police released surveillance photos of STEPDAD depositing $8,000 in stolen money at the bank. Wow. All right, so Santa Muerte.
Police in Everman are sharing the latest update in their search for a 6-year-old boy believed to be dead. The department called off searches this past weekend. Investigators in Tarrant County are combing through records, hoping to find the path that will lead them to that missing 6-year-old. Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes.
And I'm Steve Vigor right now. Physical search is on hold as police try to collect more information about Noel Rodriguez's family. Fox 4's Dion Angler spoke to Everman police about what they are learning every day. Dion.
Hi there, Steve. Well, the police chief says there are dozens of investigators going through all types of data and paper trails to try and connect the dots in the search for Noel. But he also points out another aspect in the case is what Noel's mother was worshiping. The continuing search for the remains of Noel Rodriguez-Alverez involves months worth of data, such as financial records and emails, to retrace the family's past movements. And there's more.
We do know that she was adamant about the Santa Muerte and believed that that she was part of the religion of Santa Muerte that worshipped him.
Fox 4 video inside the family's converted shed recorded a glimpse of a shrine to Santa Muerte, also known as Saint Death. Some call it a dark world of worship and idolization, and it is condemned by leaders of the Catholic Church.
And in this case, it's very important. She idolizes that Santa Muerte. It's everywhere within the shed. It was everywhere within the home. It was on her vehicle. So it was pretty evident to us that she was idolizing and worshiping that. And essentially, he is the patron saint that offers protection. From my understanding, offers protection to like the cartel and those.
Yeah, it's like I've said this before. It's like a criminal religion for like criminals and, you know, people that like rape and kidnap and do all kinds of crimes, pedophiles. They all pray to like Santa Muerte and stuff.
Those kinds of activities.
Chief Spencer says the hope is to gain insight into
child killers,
Rodriguez-Singh's mental state and past comments she made to witnesses, describing Noel as a demon and evil. The 6-year-old special needs boy has been unaccounted for since late 2022 and now presumed dead by police. His mother and her new husband, Singh, fled to India with their other children rather than explain where the boy was. A recent search of the property yielded no physical evidence, but a strong belief that human remains had once been near their shed. Investigators won't be specific about the types of data they are analyzing, but it has involved over a dozen search warrants to obtain it.
Essentially, the investigative team is trying to immerse themselves within the lives of Cindy and Arshdeep and the family over the past 6 months to find out every move they made, try to figure out what their patterns were, because we have to be able to identify what was different, what kind of anomalies occurred in their life, and then figure out what caused those anomalies, most likely the death of Noel.
All right, so let's get to the new presser then. We did the timeline and everything else. I think I'm going to have to adjust the volume on this one because it's kind of low. Let's see. It's going to be a lot of background noise too, though.
How are y'all doing? Okay. Good. I'm going to try not to mess up the mics here. Everybody doing okay? Set up and ready to go? All right. Well, good afternoon. I've got a few updates for you regarding the ongoing investigation into Noel Rodriguez-Alverez. First, I want to talk about the physical ground searches. Since the start of this investigation, investigators have partnered with two incredible organizations. That includes Texas EquiSearch and Texar, otherwise known as Texas Search and Rescue. Thanks to the assistance of these volunteer-based organizations, we have successfully searched and cleared numerous tracts of land totaling over 500 acres.
Yeah.
These searches have included nearby wooded areas, creeks, ponds, drainage culverts, construction sites, and more. These teams consist of expert-trained volunteers with specialized equipment and resources, including drones, infrared cameras, LiDAR, human remain detection canines, horses, and even rescue boats. The searches conducted over the past weekend did lead to the recovery of some items within the search area. However, it is unclear at this time whether those items are specifically related to the disappearance of Noel. Nevertheless, these items have been collected by crime scene technicians and are being processed in a lab for confirmation. As to not cause any sort of undue speculation on the case, we're not sharing any specifics related to those items that were collected until lab tests confirm whether or not they are associated with this case. I want to make sure that I highlight the importance of these searches. Even when minimal or no physical evidence is located, each and every search is valuable in successfully moving this investigation forward. At this time, investigators are continuing to analyze data to determine if and where any additional searches may be conducted. Prior to the most recent search, I had expressed that investigators were focusing heavily on analyzing the tremendous amount of data that has been collected as a part of this investigation. This work continues as investigators continue to have data come in. There is simply some data that I cannot go into details on in order to protect the integrity of the investigation and in order to ultimately seek justice that Noel deserves. However, I do want to share that this data analysis has been incredibly important to this investigation. The data has supported Noel's disappearance most likely occurred near the last week of October 2022, approximately 6 months ago.
Wow.
Additionally, financial records indicated that the plane tickets to India for Cindy, Arshdeep, and all 6 children were purchased on a credit card belonging to Arshdeep. Investigators also noticed an abnormally large cash deposit into Arshdeep.
Let me tell you, man, that guy, of course the woman is a piece of shit, but that guy is just as much of a piece of shit. I hope that, I hope that they're caught, that they're prosecuted to the full extent. And I think people like that should be put on the death sentence, given a death sentence, man. Fully prosecuted. The guy's a piece of shit. I think they withheld his name for a while because they weren't sure. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they weren't sure of his involvement and stuff like that. But it's clear this guy knowingly plotted with this woman, and had those newborn kids. God knows what's going on with the other kids, right? God knows what's going on with the other kids that they fled to India with. I don't know. And India has such a high population. I mean, I don't know if they'll find them. It'll be kind of hard, maybe. I'm not sure how that's going to work out with India. Maybe they'll slip up. I mean, they're a big family. I mean, unless that guy has connects out there in India, maybe he has family and friends. I don't know what kind of family and friends going to support that shit either. Or maybe they don't know what's going on. Scumbag, yo. And how can you have kids and do that shit yourself? I mean, I guess a lot of these people do that, right? Look at Tisha, right? This is a picture of this guy taking out money at the bank. Oh no, depositing. Sorry, I think this is when he deposited because he stole money. I'll read the caption after.
Deep's bank account. This deposit took place on March. Arshdeep and all 6 children were purchased on a credit card belonging to Arshdeep. Investigators also noticed an abnormally large cash deposit into Arshdeep's bank account. This deposit took place on March 22nd, just hours before fleeing the country. Through data analysis, investigators learned that Arshdeep had paid a visit to one of his places of employment prior to making that cash deposit. Arshdeep had access to the company's safe as a part of his normal job responsibilities. Investigators learned that Arshdeep first fraudulently altered the company's cash deposit records, likely in order to prevent detection, and then removed over $10,000 in cash from the company's safe, traveled to the nearest bank, and deposited $8,000 of that cash into his own personal account. We have now obtained an additional warrant for the arrest of Arshdeep for felony theft. We're going to be sharing a still image with you today of Arshdeep making that deposit.
Yeah, making that deposit.
Today marks 1 month since the initial Amber Alert for this case was issued. Since then, this investigative team has spent thousands of man-hours on this case, have followed more than 70 leads, issued more than 24 search warrants, arrest warrants, and subpoenas, and conducted countless interviews. This investigation has taken us across state and country borders. Investigators have worked to compile a mountainous amount of information, data, and evidence in this case, and we continue to build that today. Each and every single day, we get closer and closer to the answers that we all seek. Although it has been a month and we have not yet found Noel, rest assured that we have not stopped the fight, not even close. We will continue to fight for Noel until we have the answers that we need. And I want to thank everybody for your overwhelming amount of support that this team has received during the course of this investigation. We know and understand how important this case is to the community and stand by our promise to do everything that we can in this case. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
This guy too, he's done a, unfortunately the audio thing is going to suck with the reporters. I wish reporters had mics or something, but this, I don't remember his name either. He's been doing a really good job though, just communicating and being transparent. I don't know if he's the captain or communications person. This guy's done a really, really good job of communicating and stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to cause any speculation on the case because we don't know if it's directly related to this case. And I think in sharing that information would cause some speculation that I don't want to cause with the case. So we're not going to share any details about what was collected until we get lab tests back that confirms whether or not it's related. Yes, they were.
And I wish we could hear this lady because sometimes these reporters are in the know. And so hearing what they're asking kind of lets you know what's going on, and she was saying something I can't even make out.
That we can in this case. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
See if I can.
No confirmation on them, but you tested them that were down there.
Yeah, I don't want to cause any speculation on the case because we don't know if it's directly related to this case. And I think in sharing that information would cause some
I think she's talking about the items that were found. I'll bump it up. I'll try to bump it up for you guys when they ask the questions. It's not going to bump up for me, but it'll bump up for you.
Speculation that I don't want to cause with the case. So we're not going to share any details about what was collected until we get lab tests back that confirms whether or not it's related. Yes, they were located this past weekend during the large search of the 2 areas nearby.
And were all the items found in the same area or
different areas, yeah.
Are there plans for searches outside of Everman?
Not right now. We're continuing to evaluate the data, and investigators are working to determine if there are going to be additional searches, and if so, when and where those will occur. But right now, we don't have any plans to conduct any ground searches. And keep in mind, although ground searches may not be happening, the data searches are still happening, and they're still continuing to search through that data, which is equally as important in this case.
And when you say data, what kind of data are we talking about? Just in terms of the items recovered, or can you give us parameters? What kind of data?
Yeah, so I can tell you that the investigators have compiled a multitude of search warrants for data. I don't want to go into the specifics.
I think, and I bumped it up for you guys, I think he was asking what type of data, and I was thinking about that myself too. I always say data. I don't know, does it matter? Data, or just depends, doesn't matter. But I'm assuming and thinking probably, cell phones, maybe apps that's installed on those phones, maybe car, right? I think in covering these trials that we've been covering, I've kind of been learning about how much data they can collect. There's a wealth of information from your car, cell phones, the little walking step apps. With Letitia, what they talking about? Life 360. It's not just your phone that's tracking, but it's also all these applications that you have that's tracking. Who knows? Maybe Apple Watch or whatever else.
Specifics on what kind of data. But pretty much, as I've said before, if you can think about it, we're probably looking at it in this case. And obviously with this statement, I've included things like financial data and obviously cellular data. So we're looking at all avenues here. Unfortunately, there's not a set date. It kind of just depends on the lab's processes and things. And we've obviously been processing a lot of evidence through there. So it just depends on how long it takes them to do. Typically, we use the DPS lab, Texas DPS lab.
I know you mentioned before that the couple are in India. Any cooperation or authorities in India?
Yeah, so we're essentially hands off with anything to do with their capture and extradition. That's completely up to the FBI. We've obviously turned this over to them, and are relying on them to be able to fulfill that for us. We don't have the authority, the jurisdiction to be able to go over to India and capture them and bring them back. We would have to rely on our federal partners to be able to do that, and we rely solely on them. Nothing, no updates yet. No.
You can talk about that large deposit that the $10,000 taken from the place of business, $8,000 was deposited.
Yes.
Are you able to work with financial institutions, like what a purchase being made? Are you following that? Does that help?
Yeah, financials are certainly being considered with all this, and we're looking very closely into all the financials.
Was the store ownership aware that he had stolen his cash?
No, not initially. So the store ownership was not indicated to it because our steep had fraudulently altered the forms, so it didn't provide an off balance on their sheets. They weren't aware of it until we made them aware that there was a suspicious deposit. And then after they went back and pulled the documents, they realized that there was an indicator that he had fraudulently altered the cash deposit forms to indicate a $10,000 withdrawal, which ultimately was made to him in his bank account.
Yeah, so he over here scamming his job. They didn't even know about it until police looked into it.
Half this money was used to purchase plane tickets, any other purchases?
Yeah, so the plane tickets were actually purchased on a credit card that belonged to our steep. So the tickets, remember, were purchased roughly 24 hours, less than 24 hours before they left the country. And those were purchased on a credit card. This money was stolen mere hours before they even left the country. So likely to give them some cash to be able to flee the country with, so they could afford things, I guess, when they got there, is my speculation on it.
What kind of business was this?
He worked for convenience stores, worked for different convenience stores. Was his primary responsibility was to go and deliver items and pick up different items and deliver those to the different convenience stores.
Other than the timing of the disappearing of Noel and this robbery, does there seem to be another more direct link?
No, I mean, obviously it's because they didn't have the finances to support their operations and what they were looking to do here in fleeing the country. I mean, the finances just weren't there. So clearly he chose to steal it from his employer.
So you said stores, plural. Does he work for a company?
Yeah, he works for a company that has multiple stores in the Metroplex.
And you said there's a deposit that was made, there's video you're going to share?
Yeah, we've got the still shots. We've got the still shots from the bank, and we're going to share those with you today as soon as we're done. We can't release which bank it is just yet.
Alleged search areas, but previously some of the material that we found in the dumpster located at one of those stores. Is there been a search of local landfills?
Yeah, so I know landfills has come up a lot, and previous to this, I have never had any experience myself with looking at landfills. And I can tell you that we have engaged with experts who have had experience in conducting those landfill searches. And to much of my amazement, and now I completely understand, it is a very, very complex and convoluted process to go and just do a landfill dig. In order for us to be able to successfully coordinate and perform a landfill dig, we have to have more information. We really need to specifically know if and when a body would have been disposed of. So we have a date and timestamp, and we know where that trash would have been taken to the site. Landfills aren't just, they don't just collect trash and pile it up, without any sort of design. There's architects and engineers involved in all of that. And for us to be able to successfully do a dig to find any evidence, we would have to know more information, specific information, in order to move forward with that. And even with moving forward, if we did choose to move forward with that, there would be a pretty good chance that it would be hard to recover any evidence just because of the way that the trash is handled and processed. So we have not conducted any landfill digs, and as of right now, we don't have any plans to, unless we get specific data that would steer us in that direction.
Yeah, that landfill stuff is just so complicated. I mean, I covered a couple of stories like that. You think about like, you know, I don't know, Leilani, Quentin, Layla Cavett, which it's believed that's a local story to me. Layla Cavett, she's still missing. The guy's locked up. That witch doctor. That was a crazy story that I covered, and it's believed that she might have been discarded of maybe in some dumpster, because I thought they found like some blood evidence there. Then there's like, you know, Anna Walsh, Brian Walsh, same type of thing, but they actually got some evidence, but it's because I think the information led them to there. So, I mean, there's just so many cases, and I feel like that's a method too that's becoming like more and more common. And I think because these people are watching, they're watching these stories, they see what's going on, they see how complicated it is, and so maybe it's easy too, maybe, I don't know, and so they're going that route.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what, let me just do this. I've got a timeline here, and let me just kind of recap the entire timeline a little bit for you.
Oh, he did a recap.
So in mid-October, we know that the newborn twins were discharged from the hospital, and we have had eyewitness testimony that states Noel was at the residence for about a week after those twins came home. November 1st is when Cindy and all 6 kids went and took their passport photos. On November 2nd, there were applications applied for passports for Cindy and all 6 kids. Noel was not included in any of those. November the 6th, we've got data that supports that Cindy began researching cost and things for trips to India. And then you fast forward to March 20th when we received the initial welfare check. So our timeline has been narrowed down to between about a week after the twins came home and then November 1st when it appears that Cindy begins to plan an escape from the country.
And just that timeline, man, like months and months and months. You know, like it's so difficult for them to even find somebody in a landfill when it was like days. You know what I'm saying? Months and months and months. Oh, you know?
To recap, which charges, if any, are these 2 people now looking at?
Sure. So right now we have 1 warrant issued for Cindy for giving false information related to a missing child case. That's a Class C misdemeanor. That was one of the first warrants we issued. She also has an additional warrant for violation of probation that was issued shortly after the Amber Alert was issued. We have felony 2 warrants for abandoning or endangering a child, which are issued for both Cindy and Arsteep. And now we've got a felony theft charge issued for Arsteep in addition to. And as we continue to work through this, of course, if we identify any other charges, we're going to continue to get warrants for those charges as well. If I knew it offhand, I would tell you, but I don't, and I'll see if I can get that for you. I just don't know the name of the company right off the top of my head, but I'll see if we can get that for you.
And also, you telling us there's no update from that. Is that what does that do to your case, or even to morale, to not be able to know what's going on?
Sure. So I mean, you know, it does absolutely nothing to our morale. I mean, our morale is not affected by what's happening on the federal front. Our entire focus has been on investigating this case, finding leads on where Noel is, and then ultimately proving what happened to him. That's our team's focus, and that's 100% where we're focused. Once we've accomplished certain tasks, we'll issue warrants. We turn it over to the federal partners that we're working with to be able to fulfill it from there. Our team isn't focused on what happens from there. I mean, our team is focused right now 100% on finding Noel or finding the answers to what happened to him. And that's been 100% our focus, and it has not affected our morale, and I don't think it will. We'll continue to push this investigation forward all together.
What about the fathers of the children that are with Cindy? Have they been cooperative? What are their rights as well as fathers?
Yeah, so not knowing all of the details regarding parental rights there, I don't think the fathers, for one reason or another, had parental rights. I believe that all the children were in some manner signed over to where Cindy was the sole custodian parent of all those 6 children.
Wow. Well, So, damn, bro, that's crazy. I could never imagine like having a kid and being like, all right, here's all my parental rights. Is that, bro? Hold on.
And another regarding parental rights.
I can't even hear what she's saying. I'm gonna bump it up for you guys. Let's see, it's gotta be with parental rights, but let's see.
All together.
What about the fathers of the children that are with Cindy? Have they been cooperative? What are their rights as well as the fathers?
Yeah, so
the fathers, because that's the thing. I don't know how many dads are involved with this shit. Like we know, okay, there's Noel, right? The 6-year-old that's missing, and his father is in Mexico, and so there's Noel, father's in Mexico. Then you have these 2 5-month-old at the time 5-month-old kids that were born, and they belong to Singh, the stepfather that they ran off to India. Then there's 4 other siblings, because there was 7 total in that house. Noel is 1. Then you got the 2 babies, which belongs to Singh. Noel, his father's Mexico. The 2 newborn twins are Singh. Then you have 3 other kids in that house. Who I don't know who the father to those kids are. And then, oh no, sorry, 3 other kids. 3 other kids, 7 total in the house, I think, right? 3 other kids. Who knows who the fathers are to those? And then there's another 3 kids, I think, with grandma. That Cindy had left 3 other kids with grandma. I don't know who the fathers to those kids are either. And I don't know. I guess all these people just gave up their rights and don't have any kind of parental rights.
Not knowing all of the details regarding parental rights there, I don't think the fathers, for one reason or another, had parental rights. I believe that all the children were in some manner signed over to where Cindy.
What kind of people? I don't know, man. Wow, that's crazy. Jim Bond says 8 dads. I don't know if that's true, but probably. Fuck. The way we're going with these numbers.
Was the sole custodian parent of all those 6 children. However,
wait, what?
I can I believe that all the children were in some manner signed over to where Cindy was the sole custodian parent of all those 6 children. However, I can tell you, particularly the father of Noel, has expressed concern for the case. We've talked to him multiple times throughout this investigation. We have talked to a couple of the other fathers as well, who weren't really aware of all the details, but these fathers were not really involved much with the lives since the separation from Cindy. And it appears that through one manner or another that custody was given to Cindy altogether. So they had no involvement really.
Wow, bro. Crazy. That is crazy, man. It's a bunch of I mean, I don't want to shit on them, but a bunch of worthless. I'm not trying not to shit on them. I don't know. I couldn't imagine ever doing that. Like, even if it's like a bad situation, to just give up my rights like that and just disappear and not be well. I mean, I know this woman's crazy, but maybe all the more reason to try to, I don't know, at least keep her rights. Damn.
Started to plan in November for leaving the country, researching media.
Sure.
But yet, for those months in between November and March, when your first political inquiry came in, what was going on during that time?
Well, likely. I mean, first you've got to consider that there's a delay in getting passports. I mean, we can't just apply for a passport and get it right away. So I would imagine that probably played a key factor into their ability to leave the country. And she may have just gotten comfortable. All this is speculation. She may have just gotten comfortable with nobody questioning the whereabouts until police started coming and knocking on the door, and then suddenly she wants to abscond the country. So it's hard to say exactly what they did during that period of time. Obviously, it's something we're looking at as we're doing the data analysis and trying to identify their course of action during that time. But she clearly started planning this starting November 1st.
And somewhere in there, she decided to pay for a patio.
Exactly. Yeah. Sometime in there, she starts to pay for the patio. If you'd like, I've got a fact sheet here I can go over just to kind of highlight some of the publicly known fact sheets that are leading us to the conclusions we're getting at, and just kind of review some of these, because I know it's been a month. We've talked about a lot of different facts in the case, so it might be a good time to highlight these.
D-Land sent me this other crazy thing. Take a look at this after the press conference. Yeah, we'll take a look at this after.
We talked about first how Noel was never enrolled in school, although he tested and qualified for early entry and even therapy. According to family members, Noel was reportedly abused and neglected regularly. Food and water were often withheld because Cindy didn't like changing his diapers. We know that Cindy reportedly struck Noel in the face with keys for drinking water. We know that Cindy reportedly referred to Noel as evil, possessed, or having a demon in him. Noel began missing doctor's appointments after July of 2022. Cindy asked to even borrow a child from an acquaintance of hers to attend a doctor's appointment so that she could keep benefits. At Noel's last sighting, he was described as appearing unhealthy and malnourished. Cindy told family members different stories about the whereabouts of Noel, including that she sold him to a lady in a Fiesta Mart parking lot. The biological father nor the aunt in Mexico have never even met Noel. No data is available to support any trips remotely close to the border, and no data is available to support that Noel was sold, especially at a Fiesta Mart. Cindy told family members to lie to police about seeing Noel recently. Family lived in squalor, however, chose to spend nearly their entire tax return on a newly constructed patio for a...
That's what I'm saying. That shit was so sus. I wonder if that plan just didn't work out. So I'm saying that new brick patio, like they're living in, like he said, squalor. Like we saw the video of the situation these people were living in. The only thing that was like in decent condition in that shed was the whole Santa Muerte statues on the side. That was the only thing. Everything else was trashed. And then they decide to spend this money on this concrete patio.
However, members to lie to police about seeing Noel recently. Family lived in squalor, however, chose to spend nearly their entire tax return on a newly constructed patio for a home that they don't even own. According to the contractor, she was in a hurry, was indecisive, and even requested the patio be thicker in a certain area. Arshdeep disposed of a single indoor-outdoor carpet in a dumpster the night before leaving the country, however, leaves the remainder of the squalor and trash behind in the home, shed, and backyard. Multiple human remains detection canines alert to both the rug as well as under the concrete patio. Arshdeep steals $10,000 from his employer just hours.
I wonder, man. I don't get it. So dogs did hit on the concrete patio under it, and she asked for specific parts to be thicker than the other, but they didn't find him there. And then there's also the carpet that the dogs hit on. I mean, I don't know. Was he just hidden there for a while, or I don't know.
Hours before leaving the country, electronic visas were obtained on March 21st, one day after the welfare check. And obviously the family quickly absconds the country with one-way flight tickets all the way to India, almost immediately after CPS and police began to question the whereabouts of Noel. So all of these things are what has led us to the conclusion of this being a death investigation and why we are taking the path that we are taking, and really what's pushing us forward. And when you take a step back, and I think when you look at the totality of the circumstances, you really get an understanding of what kind of case we're dealing with here. And these are just the facts that we've released. This doesn't even include the facts that we haven't been able to talk about.
Even everything that you just laid out, what more do you need for a more serious charge against anyone?
Yeah, we're still going to evaluate all the data. We want to be able to have all the firm answers without any guesses, and that's what our investigative team is working at right now. We have the ability to go after them right now with the felony 2 warrants that were issued. I mean, that was the purpose of issuing those felony 2 warrants, was to try to get them into custody and get them extradited back here so that we can question them regarding the disappearance of Noel. But we're going to keep pushing this forward regardless. We still have some more data to evaluate. We've still got some more opportunities ahead of us. We're not at the end game of this investigation by any means. And like I mentioned earlier, just the searches that we've completed are telling us where he's not, pointing us in the right direction of where he may be. So we're going to keep pushing that forward. We do. That is one task that would be very helpful here, is obviously finding him. Regardless of charges, we want to find him and put him to rest where he deserves to be.
I didn't notice that you got money in 321. There's now a big billboard as well that says, we want any information that we need to find Noel.
Sure.
If that's maybe like a new billboard, is that just to try to get more attention?
Yeah, Clearcom was kind enough to work with us and sponsor the advertisement of this, just to try to bring more attention to the case. Attention and your efforts here in the media have been instrumental in this case. The tips have been extremely instrumental in this case, getting the information that we've needed. This whole case started from a tip. So it's paramount that that the tips come in and anybody with information call us. So certainly, yes, that's a part of that effort to get public awareness out there and make sure that we're getting all the tips that we may be able to get on the case. Yeah, so I mean, we did locate some items on the searches this past weekend. However, it's unclear if those items are actually related to this case or not. One thing to keep in mind is that these locations that were searched are off of some busy roadways, so it's very possible that they may not even be associated with our case. So before we identify what those items are, we're going to conduct lab tests to confirm whether or not they're associated with the case. Go ahead.
Have you been able to determine how long Cindy had been a worshiper of Santa Muerte?
You know, and I understand that the disturbed feeling that people may have gotten when they saw the Santa Muerte, it really hasn't played much of a factor into the actual case or building any sort of probable cause or anything related to an offense. And it just hasn't been an avenue that we've really looked to pursue because we're not sure that it would even be fruitful there. Obviously, she has the freedom to worship whoever she wishes to worship. She has the freedom of religion, and we're not going to impede on that. And we're not sure that who she worshiped had any direct link to what happened to Noel. And we're certainly not sure that it would well, and I know that it wouldn't play in at this point to any probable cause that we would be seeking for any kind of charge. So it just hasn't been something that's been really on the forefront of the investigation. Obviously, I know that people were uncomfortable when they first saw it and immediately had some thoughts, but it's just not something that's at the forefront of the investigation at this point. We've got other data and things that we are focusing on that do provide the We've put in the request. Haven't got it yet, so we put in that request, and I think many of you have as well. So, just haven't got that yet. We don't have any more further ground searches planned as of yet. So we're going to continue to analyze the data. We have cleared over 500 acres of nearby tracts of land. So we're feeling more and more confident about the areas that we visited. And I talked about this before, any ground searches that we do, we want to make sure that they are with a purpose and not just random, because we want to make sure that we don't miss anything in this case. And we want to make sure that we have data to support that. So before we plan any further ground searches, we're going to make sure that we go back and review the data and have data to support any of those.
How has it been also trying to balance just the normal day-to-day police, duties of this city?
Sure. So, it hasn't been bad because we've got an amazing team of investigators that has come in and helped us out with this. I've talked before about how we've got 30 to 40 investigators that have had their hands on this case at one point in time or another. We would not be able to move this case forward. We wouldn't be able to move this case forward without their assistance. And they have been absolutely amazing to work with. I've had the pleasure over the last month to be able to sit in a room with them every single day and work on this case. And this is a group of individuals who are much smarter than me, who are able to bring a lot to the table and really push this investigation along. And we certainly couldn't do it without them. They have been incredible to work with, and I truly feel like we've got the best investigators possible on this case. So I'm very thankful to them. If it wasn't for them, we obviously would be struggling to still push this case forward, and we would be struggling to fulfill our other duties as a police department as well. But it's thanks to them that we're not struggling to do what we need to do as a police department. Any other questions? All right, thank you all very much.
Okay, wow. So we still got some more to go. That was the more recent updates. So I want to replay this. This is just about 10 minutes. This is the guy that lives in the home where these people were staying, the shed. We've watched this one time on a lunch break. I want to play it right now because there's another video now that Flossie was telling me about where the grandmother actually speaks, Noel's grandmother. I haven't watched this yet, but I heard she kind of calls out a little bit this guy. So I feel like we should watch this first, 10 minutes long, and then we'll watch grandma. And then I'll show you some of these pictures that they released. And then there's a second story that we're going to cover briefly as well at the end of this stream. D-Land sent me this story, and also Legendary was talking about it. It's about this 6-year-old that was stuffed in a bucket, left outside of her biological mother's home in Louisiana. So I'm going to clip that while we talk about it. So I I can maybe post it separately to either Facebook or YouTube, however I want to do it. So we'll talk about that. I have a couple of clips. I kind of want to search for some more. I'm going to search for whatever I can gather. 'Cause I have the press conference, the source press conference, but I'm also pulling up whatever else there is out there, which it doesn't look like much right now. So let's start off with this guy first. So this is the homeowner, and I forgot. When we watched this thing together on the live, you guys in the chat during that live caught him in what they call like a fraudulent slip, I guess. I forgot where it was. We're going to have to listen to it again. It was so interesting. I did record this the other time, but it's somewhere in the abyss of my computer.
40.
Wait, I have to fix the volume too. And thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. It's Thursday, off day for the trial. Tomorrow we'll be back. If you could hit like, it helps out the algorithm. We've been following this Noel story for a while. There's not that much interest in the story, but it's like, I don't know. We started it. We're going to keep trying to follow it if possible. But there's a bunch of other stories too, like Anna Walsh and all this stuff. But this one particularly really doesn't have much attention. So, all right, let's check it out.
40 plus years.
Okay, so they were here doing obviously the search. They had to tear up the patio. They didn't find anything. But you were telling me just kind of a different story from what police have told us. So what's going on here?
Oh,
so you heard her say, right, they tore up the patio. They didn't find anything. They did dig up the thing. But it's weird. They were getting hits from the dogs.
How I met her is I met her at a grocery store one time. I was thumping some melons, and she come up and so we got to be talking, and then I told her, we got to find out that I'd gone through a pretty bad relationship with somebody for like 11 years. She was a dopehead, and she took me for everything. So she had volunteered that if I needed somebody to come over and cook every now and then, she would. So we did.
So he meets this woman in a store. She needs help, I guess, and he needs, I guess, help in a bad relationship. And ironically, this woman, you could argue, took advantage of him too, because she dipped out, didn't tell this guy anything, had kids with some other guy, had the guy living there as well, and all these kids. And you're kind of like in somewhat of a level simping in a way, in my opinion. Or maybe he was just looking for the companionship. I don't know.
So one day she came out and parked her car in front of my house. And it was cold, and she asked me, could she sleep right there in front of the house? I said, what do you mean? Her husband or whatever, the guy that got deported to Mexico, had left her with no rent money, no food, no nothing, no diapers. And so I told her, look, I got 2 extra rooms. Y'all are willing to come in if y'all want to come in and stay there. I said, I'm not going to charge you.
At the same time, maybe he's just trying to be nice, but
rent. So then later on, she ended up meeting her husband to be at one of them little stores down the street, and they ended up getting married because CPS had come out here when they had taken her kids originally, because she did have a DWI and she did have a drinking problem when she was here. I quit drinking.
What's the melons thing? He said melons? Whose melons he was thumping?
All together because of her DWI. And anyway, she had been clean for like 2 or 3 years because she had a breathalyzer, so she has to do that. But she was on probation, like 8 to 10 years if she broke it. That's why she fled, because when they came again, they couldn't find Noel. And she supposedly told him where she took him. I don't know where she took him, have no idea. The story I'd got that she had taken him to the father. The father didn't want him, but the sister did. And so she left him with the sister. Now, I can't verify that because I don't know none of it to be a fact. So
what were the slab, this search? What have they told you about that?
Not a thing. And I kept telling them the slab was poured after Noel supposedly had disappeared. I mean, why would he be underneath the slab? I think they just tore it up because they don't have no idea where the boy is, and they're frustrated.
But why was the slab poured and then the family immediately left?
Because she built the slab because, she had the twins. She wanted to build a patio so the twins would have someplace. She could sit in the patio and watch her kids play on the trampoline and the swings back there during the summer. But she eventually was going to add another room to the back of the house because her oldest daughter, the one that was with her now, not her oldest, but the one that lived with her, was going to need a room. She wanted a room, build a room. That's why it was heavy on one end. They kept saying it was more. it was heavy on one end because she was actually going to build another room back there.
But you know why, if she had all those plans, she suddenly up and left?
Scared that she was going to go to prison for 8 years and then not watch her kids grow up. Her twin, you know, you take away from her twins, she ain't going to get to see them if she goes to prison.
She was scared that she was going to go to prison because Noel was missing?
Yeah, because that and CPS are going to come take her kids to start off with. You know that with Noel missing, you know they're going to take the kids. And now people are saying she was abusive. I've never seen her abuse Noel or any of the kids.
And you're the homeowner?
I'm the homeowner. I've been here 10 years. I worked most of the time when she was here.
Did she get permission from you to pour that slab, or how did that?
She's going to inherit. She was going to inherit the house, so she didn't need my permission. Because I have nobody to leave the house to. Nobody at all. I don't want to leave it to the city. So, you know, she could basically was doing it for her own benefit.
And police told you not to go back there? I mean, have they
when they first started tearing up, cut the little hole in the slab, the police knocked on my door and said, if you come in the backyard while we're doing this, we're going to arrest you and take you to jail. And I said, for what? It's my house, my property. And they never give me a reason.
What do you make of all this?
Huh?
What do you make of all this that's happening?
I know the police are desperate to find the boy, but they're looking in the wrong place, is all I can say, because he's not here.
What do you think he is?
I have no idea. I think he's in Mexico, to be honest with you.
Do you think he's alive?
Yeah, I think he's alive, and that's why I told him I wasn't going to go to that deal they had last night, because until you show me a body that he's dead, then I'll believe you, because I think no way he's dead. Somebody's got him. Somebody's scared that they're going to get in trouble with the law because they've got him, and they got him illegally, basically. She didn't go through the courts like I asked her. Like I told her, if you're going to adopt Noel.
There it is. Lola, thank you for the super chat. She says it's pronounced Freudian slip. Okay, I like fraudulent slip. I like that better, but yeah, the way it's pronounced, Freudian slip. Fraudulent. So he over here, he's talking about, I told her if you're going to get rid of, what do I say?
She didn't go through the courts like I asked her. Like I told her, if you're going to adopt Noel.
If you're going to get rid of, adopt him. Oh, shit.
With the law, because they've got him, and they got him illegally, basically. She didn't go through the courts like I asked her. Like I told her, if you're going to adopt Noel, go through the court system, but she didn't do that.
Did you live here with them?
Huh?
Were you here with them? You lived here with them?
They lived here with me. It's my place. Yeah.
When do you notice the kids were gone?
When I came from work, and you know, I didn't deal with the kid much because I'd already had 3 surgeries on this arm. This is at the time. And I wasn't feeling good, and I was nervous about having to go because the doctor was setting me up with a surgeon.
Damn, bro.
And that made me nervous. I was scared
That's
of
pretty
that.
bad. I wonder if they looked into that. I don't know.
So I didn't spend much time with the kids when I came from work. I just had quit work. I had to quit work because I wasn't physically able to work. And then I was worried about my bills, so I was sitting down trying to figure out how I'm going to pay my bills on Social Security. You know, they help some. I don't like to count on somebody else's help. That's not their problem. But yeah, they didn't have to pay me rent, but they did pay extra money.
Did you find it?
It is their problem if they're staying with you. I mean, it's your problem, but
just when Noel just wasn't around back in November.
No, she told me that she had taken him to the boy's daddy and that he didn't want him, but the sister did want him, what I was told. So.
Where's the sister? Is she in the area, or is she back in Mexico? Do you know anything about that?
You know what? She wasn't gone long enough not to take him to Mexico, but the sister lives in Mexico. But I also remember back 10 years ago, I took him to his, when they first had problems, I took him to somebody's house, and it was in Fort Worth. And I think that was his family, so that was before he got deported. So I really don't know. I have no idea where it was. I can't remember that. I mean, it wasn't important to me.
When she told you that the kid was in Mexico, when she told you the kid was in Mexico, did you believe her? Did you see that?
I didn't question her. I mean, they're her kids. I couldn't do anything.
But she didn't tell you that she was leaving? Like, she didn't give you any heads
No,
up? She
no,
just up and left?
not at all. She just up and left. Left me at the hospital by myself, you know.
You mentioned that the phones were taken
Phones
away.
were all cut off. That's when I knew something was up, man. I was panicky being in the hospital. They wouldn't let me go. They wouldn't release me. And, you know, that's not a good... Oh, my dog.
Police here are looking for her there.
Huh?
Police here are looking for her there in India. She's charged with a crime.
Yeah.
What would you want her to know? What would you tell her if you could speak to her?
I would ask her, I wished I would have been here. I think I could have talked her out of going, but I wasn't here. And her husband's from over there. I don't know what kind of story it is. I don't know how they're going to hide it. I don't know nothing about expedition or whatever, how they're going to get them.
And you said Charles Parsons?
Yeah.
Parsons?
P-A-R-S-O-N. Yeah.
And again, everybody hears some version of this story and can't quite make hide or hail.
Yeah.
You're at least several steps closer to it than we are. What don't people who hear about this understand about these people we're talking about? What don't we know?
That they were good. They're good parents.
Oh.
I mean, they love their kids.
Oh, no.
They really love their kids. Why would you can check the kids' grades in school? The girl was making straight A's. The boy was a B student. She got another girl that was an A student. Does that sound like kids that are being abusive? You go back there and see all the toys they got. They got more toys that I'm going to end up throwing away than a man can shake a fist at.
¿Son tan buenos toys?
They're not rich.
You can't speak for her, so I'm not
No,
asking
I
you
can't,
to.
yeah.
If she took her son to Mexico, or to someone who took him to Mexico,
Yeah.
why the secrecy? Why the...
I can't tell you. I don't know. Because she's afraid she's going to lose her other kids. That's why. I mean, she's already lost them for a whole year. Can you imagine going a whole year without seeing your twins, and they're 3 months old? I can't.
Do you know anything about the husband? Because they recently got married, right? Knew her husband?
I know her husband. Yeah, he'd been here for quite a while. I think like 2 years.
Do you know anything about him?
He worked every day. He made decent money. I mean, they got along good. He took care of the kids. He loved the kids. They would call him daddy.
Now, the last little portion of the, well, two little parts, but this one, I haven't seen this video yet. So this is now grandma. Grandma's talking. Wants her daughter to confess where the 6-year-old is. And I think grandma has the 3 other kids.
Nearly a month has passed since the investigation into 6-year-old Noel Rodriguez-Alverez's disappearance began. His grandmother, who asked us not to show her or name her for privacy and safety reasons, is speaking out for the first time.
Okay, how have you felt since this all happened?
Mucha tristeza, demasiada tristeza.
So much sadness, I start to cry. He was a normal boy.
Noel! Noel! Look at the...
Noel suffered from physical and developmental disabilities, but those who knew him describe him as sweet and loving. It's why this grandmother says she wants justice for the boy Everman police say is likely dead. Noel's mother, stepfather, and children flew out of the country last month, a shock to Cindy's mother.
Que la traigan.
I want them to bring her so she can tell us where Noel is. Where is he? What was the reason? He was a boy who didn't deserve the bad fortune she gave him. He was an innocent child. Poor boy. Everman police have said Cindy's landlord, Charles Parsons, is cooperating with the investigation, but Cindy's mother doesn't believe that.
Oh, no, Grandma, don't say that. Come on. What? No, Grandma, come on. Oh, no.
Charles Parsons is cooperating with the investigation, but Cindy's mother doesn't believe that. That man knows everything.
Todo.
For years, Cindy's 3 oldest children have been under this grandma's care. She tells us she raised them, and then she offered to care for Noel, but Cindy would not let her. When CPS temporarily took Cindy's children a couple of years ago, the grandmother says she couldn't take them at the time due to her own health issues. She says Noel needs to be found, dead or alive. She needs to tell us where that little angel is. And she says that was his middle name, Angel. In Everman, I'm Adriana Daub.
Damn. That was 8 days ago. They didn't release the full interview, I guess. Yeah, fine, 8 days ago. It'll take forever. They post a bunch of videos a day. Interesting. Okay, so we're gonna do one more update. This is story. This is a short one. So this story here we're gonna be doing is about this. I just heard about this now. It's a 6-year-old body of 6-year-old stuffed in bucket and left outside mother's home. What the heck is going on? Let's just take a look at the press conference first, and then we'll take a look at some articles. Look over here. This is I think Louisiana.
Good. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for coming here this afternoon. I'm Sheriff Joseph Pinto, Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office. I'm here with the Harahan Police Chief Ed LaPree, the Jefferson Parish Coroner Jerry Satanovich, Harahan Mayor Tim Baudier, and Jefferson Parish Councilman Dino Bonanno. Here to announce a very sad case in the city of Harahan, which occurred last night and this morning. Earlier today, at around 7:30 a.m., a father walked into the Harahan Police Department to report his child, along with his 43-year-old girlfriend, missing. When he woke up this morning, the 6-year-old and the 43-year-old were not in the house, although an older child was still in the house there. Reported it to the Harahan Police Department. They started investigating it as a missing person. They went to the house, started doing canvases in that neighborhood. The mother of the biological mother of the child lives approximately 1 block away around the corner. So the investigation led to go to that location. Upon arriving at that location, they located best to be able to describe it, maybe a 10-gallon bucket. It's a chlorine bucket, large, a little larger than a 5-gallon bucket on the front lawn of the mother's house. When they opened up that bucket, they found the 60-year-old deceased inside that bucket.
Wow.
Turned into a homicide investigation. Obviously, at that point, homicide detectives from Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office were called out to the scene. We utilized not only our resources with the Sheriff's Office, but also used the Major Crimes Task Force to come out and try to start canvassing the neighborhood, which our attention was drawn very quickly to the missing girlfriend, who is now missing in action. We could not necessarily find her. We were able to find numerous video from different households in the neighboring area, which showed her pulling a wagon down late last night with the bucket inside the back of that wagon. Ended up performing an autopsy today on the child, and we can classify the child's death as a homicide at this point in time. We ended up doing extensive interviews with both the mother and the father, the biological mother and the father. We do not believe that they are involved in any foul play involved with the death of Miss Belafonte, who is the 6-year-old that is deceased. Those interviews also continue to lead us in our investigation, looking for the suspect in this case, which I have 3 different names. Hannah Landon, which is an American name. She is described as an Asian female. Hannah Landon, H-A-N-N-A-H, last name Landon, L-A-N-D-O-N. Also known as Bunak Lim, B-U-N-N-A-K, last name L-I-M, or Bunak Landon, 43-year-old Asian female. As we were doing our best in order to locate her around 2 o'clock this afternoon, we were notified that she was possibly at one of our local hospitals. We were able to locate her at one of the local hospitals. She is now in JPSO custody, where she'll hopefully later be booked with at least 1 count of first-degree murder and obstruction of justice. Got a lot of different evidence with a lot of different scenes here, that we'll continue to work through. But of course, we have an arrest, and we have, more tragically, the death of the 6-year-old, which is going to be a big shock to the small community of Harahan. With that, I'll turn it over to Chief LaPree for any questions, and I'll take some questions after.
Okay, so by the way, this is a different story, guys. I said we're covering a different story now. There might be people that are just joining. This is a Louisiana story. I'm clipping it.
Thank you, Sheriff. My name is Ed LaPree. I'm the Harahan Police Chief. This morning I was out of town at a conference, an FBI conference down in Orlando. I got a call from my staff in reference to a missing child. Immediately, after learning more information, I reached out to the sheriff and the other chiefs that were with me at the conference. All offered to help. The sheriff and his staff, I can't thank them enough for coming in and working with our guys. Our guys responded. They were doing the right things. We just needed a little extra help, and I appreciate the sheriff for coming in and offering the assistance to develop this case. They were keeping me abreast on the hour. They got me an earlier flight. I just got back in from out of town, but I appreciate everything. The city of Harahan is still safe. It is a safe city. There's no threat to the public right now. There is an arrest. There is a case being worked. The sheriff, as we get more information, and if it's necessary to report, we will. But at this time, I appreciate all the outside agencies that came in, gave assistance to us. We're a small town. We're a safe town. And I just want the citizens to know that my heart and my prayers go out to the family of this child. This is a senseless type incident that happened. But I can assure you that the Harahan Police Department and the Sheriff's Office are there for the family. And we keep them in our prayers. And I thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Jerry Satanovich, Jefferson Parish Coroner. I want to start off by saying thank you to everybody involved in this case, from the 911 dispatchers to EMS to law enforcement, and last but not least, the people in my office. Cases like this are hard. You know, we're parents, brothers, sisters, so it's very difficult and it affects everybody. So thanks to all of them, and they're very much appreciated for what they do. The young lady, the decedent, is Bella Fontanella. That's B-E-L-L-A. Last name is Fontenelle, 6-year-old female. The manner of death is homicide. She has multiple injuries, and I'm not going to get into details regarding the injuries because this is still a fluid investigation with a lot of interviews that have yet to happen. So those details will come out. We're not, hiding them. We're just delaying the release of those. Thank you very much.
I'll take any questions if anybody has any.
Sheriff, why was Miss Landon or Miss Lim, why did she go to the hospital?
I'm not going to release that at this one time. She, as I said, the arrest has just been made on her in the last couple of hours, so we haven't had the opportunity to interview her, although we're going to attempt that. So that's part of the reason that we're not releasing the cause of death and injuries and some of this information. So I'll probably will release that to you at the appropriate time, but right now it's not the appropriate time.
Sheriff, you said the bucket was found in the yard of
It was in the front yard of the biological mother's house.
Of the little girl?
Yeah, so we believe the child was killed at the father's house, which happens to be about a block away, and then transported over to the mother's house, and then taken out of a wagon. Actually, it was transported.
Is her home on Sedgefield and the father is
The
Donnelly?
father is on Donellan. The mother is on Sedgefield. That's correct.
Do you know if the girlfriend had planned anything, or do you have a possible motive?
I don't have any information to be able to share. That interview is not out.
Or any chance that it could have been accidental, or is that a possibility y'all looking into?
No, I think the coroner made it clear. I think the manner of death is certainly a homicide.
Was there issues with the girlfriend and the biological mother? Why was the child placed on the mother's front lawn?
I don't know the answers to that.
So for those just joining, man, and I'm gonna read an article after this. I'm just playing the press conference, but police believe that the father's girlfriend is involved. One of the names, Hannah Landon, 43 years old. She's the primary suspect. Now, the girl, I think it's a girl, 6-year-old, was found in front of the mother's lawn. Okay, this bucket or whatever that the child was found in was placed in front of the mother's house. That's why they're asking, and this is the father's boyfriend these days, girlfriend. That is the suspect, so that's why they're asking, did they have issues? Is there something, you know what I'm saying? And I believe she's still missing.
Do you know if the girlfriend lived with the child?
Yes, the girlfriend lived with the father, biological father, and I believe they had joint custody, so both times lived with both parents.
Did the biological mother find the bucket? Was she home at the time, or how?
She was home. Harahan Police Department was there with her, but she was home at the time. That's correct.
Was she the one that found it?
I don't know exactly. I think that bucket was determined by him. I don't know who opened it, to be honest with you.
Can you tell me more about the mental state of the girlfriend?
No, not yet. I mean, again, this has all happened within the last couple hours. Really, she got to our detective bureau while we were here. So, I mean, let my detectives work for a little bit.
Where's the dad?
Dad, again, went through extensive interviews today. I don't know if he's been released yet, but he should be released. Fully cooperative from that standpoint. Don't believe he was involved in the murder by any means. But I don't know if he's. When I left the detective bureau, he was still there, but he certainly could have been.
A dad says she was found at the hospital and has been arrested. Okay, thank you.
Sheriff, and the
emotions today.
What's that?
Can you talk about his emotions today, Dad's?
Oh, I mean, look, you can imagine. I mean, I'm not going to speak for him, but I mean, both him and the mother are certainly extremely upset, which you would imagine on any person that lost a 6-year-old unexpectedly.
Sheriff, the other child, is she with her parents now?
Yes, I mean, she's certainly with the parents. I think she left with the mother, to be honest with you, but I'm not. I know she was with her grandmother today.
Were there only 2 children living in the house? You're aware of?
I think the answer is yes, that I'm aware of. Yes, I'm fairly positive.
Do we know where the child went to school?
Yeah, I know you don't know the answer to that question already. The child went to school at St. Matthew's the Apostle. I know the school reached out to their faculty and staff and parents today. So I know that we notified the schools so that way they can get the appropriate counselors in place and be able to utilize these things for the other schoolmates that are in place. So I think they're going to close over the next couple of days in order to let the family be along with the let the kids be home with their parents, and then they're going to work with the archdiocese to have counselors in place when the children return back to school.
Sheriff, do we know how long the father had been with Miss Lamb?
Several years. I don't know the exact number, but yeah, several years.
Do we know how long the child had been dead before she was found?
A good while.
Yeah.
I must say that. I mean, it looks like the homicide was late last night, and then obviously the child was found 8:20 or so this morning.
Do you know if the child was killed before she was put in the bucket?
I would imagine the answer is yes, but I'll let my investigators try to make that determination.
What time did the dad come home?
I'm not going to release that right now.
But he came into the police department at 7:30 this morning.
No, he woke up and discovered that they were not there. I think the father was there, woke up this morning and determined that his daughter and the girlfriend were not there.
And he went to the police department at 7:30.
I think 7:30 this morning, which is not unusual in Harahan. I mean, let's face it, most places you'd call 911, but Harahan's such a small community. They have a lot of walk-ins, which is not unusual for that. So he went to Harahan Police Department, which is of course just a couple blocks away, to do the report.
Were there any other previous reports of abuse in the home?
I'm not going to release that yet. I'm going to let them look into it. The suspects had 3 different names. I'll let them go through all of those situations before we release it.
And I know that there was a van taken from the home on Donnellan as part of this investigation that it returned. Do you know anything about that?
With first-degree murder, it's premeditated. So
No,
was there?
no. The first-degree murder is not necessarily premeditated. First-degree murder is because the child is under the age of 12.
Was there any indication that this was pre-planned?
I don't know that yet, but I mean, it's the age of the victim which kicks in the first-degree murder, not the premeditation.
And you said that the other child's in the custody of the mother?
I don't know. I wouldn't say custody. I mean, the fact of it is the parents we don't believe are involved. I'll let them figure out who's going to have the child. That's not a JPS decision. Yeah. Thank you very much.
So let me get to the article. I don't know if this is true. Oh. Don't do that. Reported ring video of Harahan homicide. So there's supposedly Ring video. Let's check this out. Because the police had said, well, let me read the article and then we're going to do this video. Let me do the article first. Let's do this. Sorry, because I'm kind of pulling up information as we stream. So just bear with me for a second. Okay. Let's do this article first and then we'll see that video. So, okay. And they did say that she was at the hospital. I did see the article as well. She was at the hospital. It says Hannah Bunak Landon, accused of horrific death of 6-year-old Bella, has been discharged from the hospital where deputies found her and booked her into jail for first-degree murder. Now this here, the arrested woman is the father's girlfriend, but officials do not believe he nor the child's mother are involved in any way. Okay. The Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office has arrested the woman they believe killed a 6-year-old in Harahan in a crime that stunned the entire community. Bella, a kindergartner at St. Matthew the Apostle School, was found dead inside a bucket on her mother's front yard. That's wicked, dude. Wicked. Police believe the father's girlfriend, Hannah, 43, is the primary suspect. She was arrested Wednesday afternoon at a local hospital. The police would not say why she was at the hospital. That's interesting. Yeah, why was she at the hospital? What happened? The police said Bella's mother and father were both interviewed and they are not considered suspects in the homicide investigation. Apparently, neighbor surveillance video showed Landon dragging a wagon, that's what we're about to watch now, with a bucket nearby before the body had been found. Wow. She's facing first-degree murder charges as well as an obstruction of justice charge. Harahan Police Chief Ed Lepre, who was out of town in Florida, returned Wednesday afternoon to deal with the tragedy. He was noticeably moved by the circumstances and wanted to reassure the public. Okay. Eyewitness News spoke to neighbors who said this is a quiet, family-oriented neighborhood. They say they're shocked this happened. One neighbor told us he saw Bella and her family biking around the neighborhood just 2 weeks ago. It's beyond shocking. I'm shaking. Something like this could happen. Another neighbor said, shocking, absolutely shocking. It's very upsetting. This doesn't happen here. I feel so bad for the family. Okay. So we saw the press conference. Now let's take a look at the video. Let's see. Wow, no freaking way, man. That is so creepy and eerie. This woman did this with the body inside this bucket. 6-year-old. Just casually walking down and places it in front of the biological mother's house. Wow. So I'm going to clip that to post it to YouTube after the live stream. And so this was a 10-gallon bucket that the girl was found in. Wow. Incredible. One other tidbit that I wanted to cover, and then I'm going to probably head out of here because I kind of want to, like, today try to, like, refresh, reset, get things done that I need to get done in the house so I can be fresh for you guys tomorrow because I was so tired yesterday. I slept a whole bunch last night. I slept in today. And, but let me share this one other quick story. I don't even know what's really going on with this. Is there any kind of video? Okay, let's do this one here. There was rumors of a serial killer in Texas. Serial killer. Oh no. And I don't know. I think they've been calling this. Austin police have found 4 men dead in Lady Bird Lake this year. And so people are dubbing it the Ladybird serial killer, but is there really a serial killer in Texas? Austin police chief knocks down rampant rumor of serial killer in Texas capital. A series of men found in downtown Austin who were roughly the same age found in the same body of water are likely not victims of a serial killer, according to Texas Capitol Chief Police. Austin Chief Police said detectives suspected accidents or suicides in recent string of deaths, but he left open the door should additional information become known to investigators. I mean, yeah, but how does he know, right? How is he ruling this not likely? Because a lot of times they want to protect they don't want the public to freak out, because then they get all this pressure. Oh my God, it's a serial killer! Like, you got to do something. What are you guys doing? But sometimes they can rule it out by the manner of deaths. So these are just, we're going to get into it, the deaths at the bottom of this. He left open the door should additional information become known to investigators. His statement comes as speculation that deaths in the city's Lady Bird Lake, 4 since February and double that over the past year, could have a connection. Of those, 3 were discovered near the edge of Rainy Street, a popular downtown strip, and a 4th was located 2 miles downriver near a dam. Wooden fencing lines the edge of the trail between Rainy Street and downtown Austin and Lady Bird Lake waterfront, where men have been discovered dead this year. I realize there is a rampant rumor of potential serial killer here in Austin. We found no evidence of that. Okay, he says no evidence.
In the last 2 months, 4 bodies were found in Lady Bird Lake near Rainy Street. 30-year-old Jason John's body was found on February 13th. The body of 40-year-old Clifton Axtell was found on March 5th. 33-year-old Jonathan Honey found on April 1st. And most recently, 30-year-old John Christopher Hayes Clark found on April 15th.
Our initial information doesn't show anything suspicious.
But despite police repeatedly saying no foul play is suspected, rumors continue to swirl of a potential serial killer in Austin. One media report even calling it the Rainy Street Ripper. Wow. A Facebook page called Lady Bird Lake Serial Killer currently has over 71,000 followers. Posts are made on almost a daily basis with theories and claims that support the idea of a serial killer. The posters coming to their own conclusions based on the number of bodies found in the lake. One user writing, quote, "Just admit there is a whole serial killer here already." Another writing, quote, "I've always thought it was a copycat of the smiley face killer." And, quote, "APD still saying there's no evidence of a serial killer?"
Nothing has come to light that would indicate that there is a serial killer in Austin.
Austin Police Chief Joseph Chacon says he knows about the rumors and says they're just not true.
I realize that there is a rampant rumor about a potential serial killer here in Austin. We found no evidence of that.
Chief Chacon adds these deaths aren't anything out of the ordinary.
It's tragic. It's a horrible circumstance that we have these.
He says people have died in the lake every year for a long period of time.
And so some of them are accidental. Unfortunately, some of them are also suicide.
He says APD will continue to investigate each case as they come and says if anything changes, the public will know.
And when we can and when it's appropriate to draw conclusions that some of them might be related, we would, believe me, we would be passing that information along to the public very promptly.
So they're like shutting it down. They're saying, we're going to look at one other article too. Police had a visible presence on Rainy Street over the weekend, out in force along the strip. City officials have begun discussing ways to make the waterfront safer, including adding lights to the trails and increasing park ranger patrols. I wonder what that water is like over there too. Is it rough water? Is it just still water? Is it deep water? What's the water like? But many Austin residents, as well as independent investigators and web sleuths alike, have argued that the number of bodies found so close to one another is more than a coincidence, especially due to the distance between the strip of bars on Rainy Street and the waterfront itself. Updated photo of Jonathan Honey. His body was found in Lady Bird Lake, April 1st, 2023. This person here, Jason, was found February 13th, 2023. The edge of Lady Bird Lake is about 1.5 blocks from the strip and requires climbing over a fence and down a trail. Austin identified the latest victim as John Christopher Hayes Clark, 30. He was pronounced dead at the scene near a dam about 2 miles down the river from where the others were found. Police found John Jason dead in Ladybird Lake in February, a week after he was last seen. I guess they meant seen on Rainy Street, which has popular row of bars near the water. Clifton Axtell was identified as the man found on March 5th. Jonathan Honey, 33, was found April 1st, a day after he was last seen at a food truck on Rainy Street. April 15th. There's a lot of bodies though popping up. Police in New York City last month announced multiple indictments and arrests in connection with a series of robberies involved. Oh, this is a different story? Right. Drugging victims at okay. Different story, but they're kind of talking about similarities, I guess. So police in New York City last month announced multiple indictments and arrests in connection with a series of robberies that involved drugging victims at bars and using facial recognition technology to unlock their phones and drain their accounts. And I've heard of several stories like that where, in the particular stories I'm talking about, is when men getting robbed by a woman, like being drugged by a woman, and the woman get back to their house and they use, you know how a lot of phones have the facial recognition or like whatever. While the person's passed out, they unlock your phone and they're getting into all your accounts. Several victims died as a result of overdosing on the drugs used to incapacitate. Oh, wow. That's crazy. So while drugging them, some of them died. Approximate locations of the 4 bodies. This is a good article. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Separately, the Austin deaths share eerie similarities to claims of a potential group of smiley face killers who some investigators believe may have been responsible for dozens of drownings of young men in the Midwest beginning in the 1990s. Residents were also monitoring the case of another man missing, Joel Dursha. Police told Fox News Digital Monday his remains were located on the 500 block of Thompson Lane Thursday morning. He was located 9 miles away from Rainy Street, not in or near the water. Police said they found no evidence of foul play. Now, this one here, this article. With the whole check Discord, when you're telling me check Discord, you got to understand. There's DMs, there's public chat, there's a million forums, there's the admin chat, there's this, there's that. When anybody tells me check DMs or check, you got to tell me, okay, Twitter DM or Discord, the admin chat or blah, 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 or check which email, this email, Instagram, which Instagram, private, the personal. There's a million avenues that I could check, and I can't in a stream stop and check every single I would be here like stalling the stream, you know what I mean? You got to tell me where on Discord, where here, where that, you know? Fears of Rainy Street Ripper, serial killer in Austin after 8th body in less than a year is pulled from Ladybird Lake in the city. So they're saying over here, 8 bodies, 8th body in less than a year. There. These are the pictures that we just saw. We got more pictures here. Cliff Axtell. So they don't suspect foul play, but this Facebook group is growing. The sleuths are onto it, even independent investigators. Investigators have not released details regarding the whereabouts of all men before their deaths, but have revealed that both Jonathan and Jason were seen on Rainy Street before their separate disappearances. On some Dahmer shit. No, but these people are being dumped in the water. Or I don't know what's happening. Rainy Street is a vibrant area in Austin known for its nightlife and boasts an array of bars, food trucks, and restaurants. Ladybird Lake is about 1.8 miles or a 35-minute walk away from the street. There are no cameras around the lake. Jason John's family believe there is more to the story behind their son's death and think 4 men are somehow connected. He was last seen walking home. Elise added that she doesn't agree with the initial ruling that no foul play was involved. She fears more men might end up dead. Damn. We definitely don't agree with that. She said we don't know how many Jasons, how many Martins, how many Jonathans are going to be losing their lives again. So this is something we'll definitely keep an eye on this. I just kind of wanted to mention this and plug it in for now. Just to maybe we'll talk about this. Other bodies previously found in the lake include 22-year-old Julio Santos in 2015 and 25-year-old Martin Gutierrez in 2018. Martin was found with several injuries after landing in the lake following a night out at Rainy Street. Oh. Christian Puh, 21, was found alive in the lake back in 2019, but in rough condition. He sustained a blow to the head and bruised hands. Damn, I wonder if they can talk to this guy, interview him.
Well, tonight, Austin police confirmed 30-year-old Christopher Hayes Clark is the identity of the man recovered from the lake Saturday. Days after police recovered his body at Lady Bird Lake, officials have said there's no indication of foul play. But some conspiracies continue to surround deaths in the lake. At least 3 people have been found dead this year, and we did ask a criminal justice professor at St. Edward's University about all of those theories. He said that they are the latest in a string across the country targeting deaths in different cities, all alleged to stem from a serial killer. He said viral messages on social media have made these rumors more rampant in recent years.
Human nature has always looked at things and sort of looked for patterns that may or may not exist, but also social media and the ability to just sort of put these rumors online and to sort of have them go out like wildfire.
And while police continue to investigate Saturday's recovery, Austin City Council approved enhanced park ranger and EMS presence near the Rainy Street trailhead last week. Now, the city is also exploring more security cameras in the entertainment district. We've got more on that, as well as the impact experts say these rumors have on investigations. Online right now at KXAN.com.
All right, so I don't know. We'll keep an eye on this. Maybe we'll look into this more. Keep an eye. So thank you guys so much, man, for joining me today. I appreciate it. I'm kind of curious about their deaths. What kind of deaths? You know, where were they at last? Which they apparently they don't want to reveal, I guess. We will be back tomorrow morning, and tomorrow will be the continuation of Letitia. Those interviews, those psychological interviews or psychiatric, whatever it was, consultations or sit downs or whatever. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. If you could hit the like button, I'd appreciate that. Por favor, hit the like button, subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And yeah, I think that's it. I don't think I'll come back today because I should take care of everything I need to take care of before tomorrow. Should, but I mean, if there's something breaking that happens, maybe then. All right. Love you guys. Take care. Peace. Bye.